What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon Black and White 2. In the last episode, we made it to Unova Town, the home of the hero in Pokemon Black and White 1, as well as Charon and Bianca. And after talking with Professor Juniper and explaining a couple of things, we've moved on to the remainder of Route 1, which stretches off towards Routes 17 and 18. Now, we still have 3 trainers left to battle here on Route 1 before we actually make it that far. So let's take them on. And we're going to start off with this Ace Trainer Cheyenne here, who is going to have a number of interesting Pokemon to go up against. I'm probably going to be swapping with each Pokemon, actually. First up, we got Heatmore, though, which I'm not too worried about that. And in fact, because I'm going to be switching here, I'm probably just going to play it safe and Hydro Cannon this thing. Especially because I've already been going through a lot of Scalds here, and I want to be kind of careful with what I'm doing. We do have a number of items to grab around here. Well, not a number. There's a hidden item around here, and then there's also one, like, next to one of the other 2 trainers that we have yet to go up against, so I'm going to have to check those out. And then, of course, the other 2 trainers are Pokemon Rangers, so they're going to each give us Lum Berries as a result of all these fights, so get to work. And then, of course, once we get to Route 17, it's going to be nothing but water types as far as the eye can see, so Kamina is just going to be soloing the entire route. Although that is not going to remain the case when we get to Route 18. In fact, Route 18 is going to be a very interesting case because it's actually quite a jump in difficulty for a lot of fights. So we're going to be seeing some very interesting showdowns go on over there if we can make it that far. I don't know if we'll make it quite that far in this episode. I will try, but no promises. I'm actually going to go with Kamina for this because I really don't know what else I can do other than to Shadow Ball this thing. Because I don't have my Zoroark with me, who would obviously be the ideal Pokemon for this situation. So let's just use that. Now, Miss Magus has better special defenses than physical defenses, so if I had like Crunch on my Dragon, that still would have been good. But really? Of all the things you could have used, at level 66, this Miss Magus has Growl. Is that seriously in its learn set that late? I mean, I guess so. Because it is, you know, entirely dependent on the moves of Miss Drevis, but that's only if this thing was evolved, like, immediately. So this thing, that's a ugly, ugly moveset. Like, a really ugly moveset. So it would have probably had Astonish, Spite, Psywave, and Growl. Yikes. That is not good. That is not good at all. And also, I did not mean to run into that fight too early. So this might get a little bit awkward. Okay, so Pokemon Ranger Audra, which I've never heard of that name before. I've heard of Audrey. I've never heard of Audra. There's some names in these games where I'm just like, huh. Wonder where that must have come from. I don't know. Don't know that one. All right, Wigglytuff. I'm actually going to give you the X-Scissor. The old one, too, especially because I don't have to worry about Cute Charm working in this situation. And you are much more... Well, I guess your special defense kind of sucks, too, so... Maybe I should just Scald you next and hope that knocks you out. Of course, this double slap is going to hit the maximum amount because why wouldn't it? Here, yeah, let's just use Scald here. And then I'm probably going to swap off of Tomoe for the next Pokemon. What is it going to be, though? It is Vileplume. Okay, yes, we were definitely swapping off of that. Challenger, going to make this easy. Really no reason to make this any more difficult. We can just Brave Bird this thing. Of course, Vileplume is a semi-decent Pokemon that is much more defensive than it is offensive, as opposed to its grass counter type from Gen 1, which was more offensive than defensive, and that is Victreebel. Down goes this thing anyway. I mean, Vileplume still does have a really good... I guess that's not actually true. Vileplume's just more specially oriented, and Victreebel's more physically oriented. So maybe that's not necessarily correct. Girafarig. I'm going to actually keep Challenger out for this one. It is normal Psychic, which means I'm going to have to get creative. I'm going to go with the Thrash here, because there's going to be a lot of damage. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Thrash is so powerful with the stab damage, man. So powerful. I love it. All right, one more trainer to get through. Take that. I also want to grab this hidden item that I neglected to grab over by the Ace Trainer up here, which is a protein. We still have one more, well, technically 2 more items left to get here, but we're going to fight this Pokemon Ranger next. There is another item down below him that is the most important item on this route. for Pokedex completion purposes anyway. So, all right, Vigoroth first. That's not really going to cause me any problems. In fact, here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this even easier for myself. I'm going to Hydro Cannon you. Of course, you're going to use Chip Away first. So that's going to be a little annoying, but whatever. No, don't miss. Come on. Come on. Use this Chip Away again. Hydro Cannon this Vigoroth. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch on over to... I guess I'm actually going to go with Jack, I think. It'd probably be a good idea for the remainder of this fight. Because next is Victreebel, and I do have Ice Punch on my Lucario still. So we'll go with that. Tomoe's level 74, the highest member in my entire team. So very, very strong. Just give you the old 1-2. By that, I mean just the one, the very frozen one. Or is that actually the 1, 2, 3, 4? How many digits does Lucario have on its paws? Is it 3 or 4? It's probably 3, actually, knowing most designs, but... Intimidate. Okay. I always forget Stantler has Intimidate. I guess it's because it's baked into, like, its antler and face design, where it's supposed to be, like... The antlers are supposed to, like, mimic the eyes or whatever, so I guess that kind of makes sense, but... It's also just kind of weird because Stantler's such a doofy-looking Pokemon. But... Whatever, down you go. Give me my Lumberry, please, and thank you. And now, let's go grab this item, which is a... Prism Scale, and this is the item that is necessary for evolving Feebas into Milotic. Again, you're going to have to make a trade, but there you go. Much easier method of getting Milotic in this generation than it is in Generation 3. I can tell you that. All right, on to Route 17, and would you believe it, there is actually no brand new Pokemon here on this route that we have to go over. In fact, if I remember correctly, it is the exact same encounters that you would find in this route, on this route in the first game. So let's get to it. Got a lot of ground to cover here. We're going to be doing a lot of Thunderbolting as we go. In fact, I think there's only one Pokemon in this entire route I am not going to want to Thunderbolt, and I believe it's only because it has Volt Absorb. Everything else is just going to get absolutely one-shot by everything. Now, granted, all the trainers out here are packing Pokemon that are level 64, 65, which is... I mean, well, I guess the Rangers had that too, but, you know, we're getting the little steps up in these areas. Not to say that the Pokemon are particularly difficult, but like I said, Route 18 sees an even bigger difficulty spike, which we will go over once we get there. You can get some really tough trainers going on over that way. Finneon's next. Again, like I said, these fights are going to be mostly pretty simple. And the thing is most of these fights, a lot of these Pokemon are actually unevolved, which does make this area kind of uninteresting. Makes it a little bit too easy for Kamita, but whatever. Honestly, might end up skipping a couple of these fights, depending on who they are. I don't know. We will see. Some of them have some interesting Pokemon, though, that we've never encountered before. So I would like to at least show that. So now goes this Lumineon, and Kamina's just going to wipe the floor with this entire route. It's so simple. Big water routes and making electric types relevant. What name a more iconic duo than that? All right. I do want to grab myself some items as we go through here, though. Now, remember that the currents are mostly later in the route, so we're going to have to kind of navigate those as we go, which honestly might push me out of... I think I can get around this area without needing to head into Route 18, but I could be wrong. I actually forget how this route works again. We'll see. We'll see as we go. Okay, let's continue down here. Okay, here we go. Yes, I am going to have to get into some of these. So this is kind of an interesting fight. Because this guy is holding one Pokemon that we have yet to see in this game, if I remember correctly. But first up is just a Tentacool. Now remember, Tentacool is all special defense, but you hit this thing with any physical attacks and it just falls over like the limp, wet trash bag that it is. But I'm pretty sure this Thunderbolt is still going to knock it out in one shot. Yeah, even Tentacool has a base special defense of like 100. Which is pretty darn strong. But then we've got Huntail, which I don't think we've encountered yet in this game. And this thing is surprisingly a little bit beefy on the physical end, but on the special end, it's nothing to write home about it. Not nothing to sneeze at. That literally means the opposite of what I was trying to say. So now goes the Huntail. Super simple. There is another trainer around here somewhere that's packing a Gorebyss, if I remember correctly. But again, we're just trying to get Kamina to catch up with the rest of the team because I was deliberately not battling with her for a bit. Okay, I do not want to take the bottom current. I want to take this current first because this is going to allow us to remain on the route here. So let's fight you next. You're not going to be the super irrelevant trainer, are you? If her name is Ruth, it is, and I'm just going to skip this fight. It is. Okay, be right back. Yeah, just a Clam Pearl and a Shelter. Really nothing that I care about in the slightest, so I'm not even going to bother with that one. But now we're going to head up here and fight this Fisherman, who is going to at least have a couple of decent Pokemon here. But we're still going to be able to get through it. No issues whatsoever, I think. Still not, like, too bothered by it. Yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty simple route to make our way through. If I'm being honest, just got to follow the currents, but make sure don't go to the bottom one, otherwise you're going to be taken off to Route 18. And actually, I cannot access the entirety of this route in this one run. We're going to have to fight the rest of these trainers when we circle back to the north part of the route after we've gone through Route 18. So I was actually incorrect because there are 2 trainers up on the top end. I think this is the last trainer in this part before we make it to the challenge area. So last but not least is Kingler. Gonna be able to deal with this guy probably no issue, because Kingler is all about a physical attack and not really anything else. It's got a physical attack of 130. It's got pretty good physical defenses, but its special stats suck. So down it goes. All right, Kamina, good job. Got all the way up to level 72 just off of these fights. So that's nice. Let's grab ourselves this item here. Yes, I know that's pointing towards something, but I do believe it is a thing we cannot access. So let's get back into the current, and then we're going to take the bottom path and talk about what goes on over on Route 18. So, welcome one, welcome all. This is pretty much the entirety of Route 18. It is this big, giant, like, rock area, and there are a lot of trainers in this area. These trainers also are a sizable step up from what you're probably used to. Now, for this first fight, I think I'm going to actually put Farina in the front, but I'm going to leave the Lucky Egg on Kamina for the time being. So let's do this thing. Now, I do actually have some new Pokemon to go over in this area as well. In the grass, you can find both Tropius and Carnivine. I know Tropius is one I haven't even seen up to this point. I think Carnivine is that. No, I think we fought a Carnivine earlier, so never mind. Oh, triple battle. Okay, I didn't realize this was a triple battle, so that caught me off guard a little bit. That's fine. We should be able to do this no problem, although, ooh, I don't like the shift that I have put myself in. Hold on. I think I can salvage this. Possibly. Maybe. We'll see. This is literally the opposite of how I wanted things, and of course Thunder missed. Anyway, in Hidden Grottos, you can also find Kingler and Chatot and Dragonite as well. Yes, that's right. Straight up Dragonite, not Dragonair, but they are extremely rare in those Hidden Grottos. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, a few new Pokemon, and actually that is going to be the last of any new Pokemon I have to go over for the rest of the game, because, well, this is the final route. We already went over Route 17, which has nothing new, and there are no specific areas with new Pokemon left in the entire game. So, yeah, that pretty much covers it. Shoot. I'm going to actually shift you, and then I'm going to try to hit you with the... I guess we'll just Scald the Skarmory, especially because it's got that Swords Dance going. And I'm going to try to Thunder this Kingdra one more time. The Kingdra does have Dragon Dance active, but that does not boost the power of Dragon Pulse. So hopefully we'll be fine here. Let's see if we can at least paralyze this Kingdra here. Come on. Yeah, see, I had the wrong Pokemon in depending on where they were at. Oh my gosh, of course it was going after Farina already. And then I shifted Tomoe into the damage. That was not intentional. But now I should be able to deal with them all pretty easily. So let's do this. I am going to hope... And actually, I'm going to also Ice Punch the Skarmory. Not the most ideal, but whatever. I'm going to Outrage here and hope that that goes after Kingdra, and then I'm going to Thunderbolt the Skarmory. So Ice Beam. Ah, come on. Really? I know you were packing that. Stupid Dragon Dance. Gosh dang it. Should have known. I should have expected that. All right, we're fine. We're fine. We should be able to knock this Skarmory out at least. And then we can just focus on Kingdra here with whatever I've got left. I have to do some healing but after this, which, that's probably going to be between episodes anyway. Challenger, you're probably going to be on the receiving end of an Ice Beam too. I think what I can do is actually this. Well, actually, can I Ice Punch? And then, no, I can't. Okay, I was thinking I could skirt around that. I think I'll just shift to try to avoid the damage. And then I guess Fly to also avoid the damage. And then Thunder, right? Do you think I can get away with I think you can get away with a Thunderbolt here. Hydro Pump? What? Okay. I like that you have Dragon Dance and then 3 special moves. It's like, yeah, that only helps like half of, it only basically ups your speed. The attack bonus isn't helping you at all. Granted, I don't think Kingdra really wants to be using physical attacks much anyway, so I guess that sort of makes sense. Actually, no, it absolutely can be using physical attacks. Its stats are completely even all the way down. I guess it wouldn't have, let me look through its moves. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really have any physical moves in its learn set, though. They're all TMs, so I guess that kind of makes sense. You get Waterfall on this thing with Dragon Dance would be pretty good. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Pokemon Black and White 2. Thank you all so much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to make our way through Challenge Rock just a bit more. There are many, many items to go over in this area, as well as many, many trainers to battle as well. And this is going to be quite a long-winded series of battles. So with all that said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode very, very much. And I'll see you all in the next one.